Welcome to Beyond Bitewings, the business side of dentistry, brought to you by Edwards & Associates PC. Join us as we discuss how to build your dental practice, optimize your income, and plan for your future. This podcast is distributed with the understanding that Edwards & Associates PC is not rendering legal, accounting, or professional advice. Listeners should consult with their business advisors before acting on any of the information that is shared. At Edwards & Associates PC, our business is the business of dentistry. For help or more information, visit our website at eandassociates.com. Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond Bitewings. In today's episode, we have a very special guest who's from Bank of America, and in fact, we're recording live here at the SWDC show and convention. Now, Adam is with Bank of America, and oftentimes we get asked a lot of similar questions about applying for a practice loan or a business loan, right? What are the requirements? What should we be aware of? And we decided, why not have an expert come here and talk a little bit about that, so that the process gets easier and you know what to expect before you start applying. So without further ado, Adam, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Ash. I appreciate you having me here today. It's a pleasure to be a part of this.
Absolutely. I'm honored to have you here. So, tell our listeners a little bit about the whole process. Let's say, take me for instance. Let's say I just graduated dental school. It's been 2 years. I've been doing an associateship. Now I'm thinking about opening up my own practice, right? It's going to be a startup. Where should I start?
Yeah, that's a great question. Really, I think the best place to start is with building a team.
Okay.
The process of acquiring or starting a practice can seem daunting at first.
Right.
And most of the time we're looking at a client like that who has never done anything like this in their life. Maybe they haven't even been through the home loan process at this point in their life. So it's important to surround yourself with industry specific, whether it's CPAs, bankers, equipment companies, people that exist in that world that are best equipped to educate and guide you through the process.
Okay. So see, you're actually telling me something different than what I would have done. I probably would have gone on Google and started typing out loans for dental practice. But you're saying no, focus on your team.
Yeah.
See, right there, that's an expert tip right there. So you need to have a team of experts who is very knowledgeable about your industry. So your lenders that do dental specific loans, CPAs, financial advisors, insurance people. You need to be very confident before you take a step, because as you said, this might even happen before you apply for a home loan, right? So in essence, this is going to be your first and biggest investment of your life.
That's correct. And so to surround yourself with people that live and breathe that world every day, that build offices all day, every day, they're going to have a deeper understanding than you really, honestly, a deeper understanding than you want, right? You don't need to know all those nuances of how to build a practice, right? You're going to learn a lot through the process as you go, but you're never going to know the role of being a construction company.
That's right.
Right? So you need to find a company who knows what to do.
That's right.
And surround yourself. So I think building the team is critically important, because you're never going to be the expert in that field. You're an expert in dentistry, right? That's what you went to school for, right? So surrounding yourself with a team that's expert in their fields, whether it's construction, banking, accounting, it's a critical first step.
I agree. Now, what are some of the things that they should be, cognizant of before even applying for, let's say, a practice loan?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing people need to be thinking about is what we call cash flow, right? And a lot of people look at it from a practice standpoint of practice cash flow, the profitability of a business, that sort of thing. But I think it's important for people to take an inward reflection and look at themselves. And what I would say is there's no amount of money that should ever stop you from having a conversation with a bank, right? I've seen situations where people have had next to nothing and still been able to get a loan. The best way to think of it is that we're a big picture lender, right? it's not just can you check this box of the money in your bank account, but if you're low on funds, what's your money been going to, right? Did you recently buy a car? Did you recently pay for a wedding? Is a common one that we hear. And depending on what that money's been spent on, we can get comfortable when somebody has less than X%, right?
Right, that's right. And then since we are on the subject matter of a business loan, can we also talk a little bit about the working capital portion of a loan? Because I feel like sometimes with new starting, someone who's about to apply for a practice startup loan, they worry, but I don't have enough cash flow for payroll or, for the first 6 months. I don't know how many patients I'm going to see. I don't know if I'll be able to cover my overhead. So what is this working capital loan that's part of the deal? What does that do?
Yeah, so the working capital is designed to cover your operating expenses. Day one, when you open up, you're going to have bills to pay, right? You're going to have to pay for staff, rent, order supplies. So working capital is included in the loan, and it's funds that you're given the day of closing that you get to use to operate the practice to help you get through to where the cash flow is picked up to sustain itself.
So it does make it a little bit easier, right?
Yeah, a lot of people kind of go into this with a different lens, thinking of, well, what's my down payment going to be, or how much am I going to have to put in for this deal? But at the end of the day, you shouldn't be putting money in, right? The lender's going to be covering the cost of building the practice, buying the practice, and giving working capital, right? So you have funds to operate it, right? So there shouldn't be, inherent out-of-pocket costs.
Right. And essentially, with somebody who's about to do this for the first time, really, we see two of the more popular options, which is starting from scratch. Like they find a shell and they're going to build it out, and then, they're going to run a practice, or they're going to look for an existing practice and then apply for a loan and take over, basically. So in your opinion, who do you think, which of these options is probably a better route for someone who's probably just graduated out of dental school for 2 years, like has been out just for 2 years?
Well, I tell my clients this all the time. So I specialize in the transition side of things. So folks buying practices. So, I am a little biased there. But what I can say with a straight face is that they're both fantastic options. We could talk default rates, success rates, whatever you want to call it. They are successful both ways. What I would say is keep your options open, right? I've seen people that they're determined to buy a practice and they spend 3, 4, 5, 6 years looking for the perfect practice that never existed. And in that time, they could have started before. So I think a lot of it comes down to, what you're looking for, what's available in the market. If you have to be in a certain location that's very saturated, maybe building a new office there isn't a smart idea and you're better off buying one, right? So it could go a few different ways. I think it's best to just keep your options open until
Okay, that's a great tip.
decide it.
Yeah, that's good. And that's also another thing that I personally get into a conversation with the clients is that they oftentimes look for a practice that is very close to where they're currently living because they've gotten comfortable.
Exactly. Kids are in school and jobs are close by for the spouse, and you don't want to relocate. So you can be sort of stuck in a geographic area.
Right. And as you mentioned, what if it's already saturated, right?
Yep. If it's already saturated, an acquisition's a great way to take on a book of patients. And depending on the practice, maybe it's a simple ramp up marketing or bring some more procedures in, stop referring them out. I've seen some people have tremendous success in those situations.
Okay, that's good. And I was just curious, from your perspective, if you had a few tips for the clients when they're starting out looking for practices, thinking about applying for loans, what are some of the things, aside from creating a strong network of team members, what are some of the things they should also maybe pay attention to? Like, don't forget to do this, don't forget to do that.
It's a great question. I'd say the most important thing is don't believe everything you read online. Fact check. I've seen different things on different websites where people have claimed maybe it's an interest rate they got. And I did their loan and I know that was not the interest rate they got. So I've seen people go on social media and you're getting half-truths. You're getting distorted versions of things. Now there's probably a lot that is truthful out there, but it can be very difficult to fact check. So just be conscious of it. Don't believe everything you hear or read. I know myself, I welcome any one of my clients to fact check me, when we talk through things. If I'm, answering something, I say, hey, go ask your attorney, let's make sure I'm understanding this right. I'm conveying it right. So yeah, don't believe everything you hear and fact check.
That's a great tip. No, I'm glad you actually told them that. Because it's true, there's just too much information out there. And it's very hard to tell which one should I lean more towards and which one should I omit. So fact checking, vetting your information, and definitely talking to your team of experts to actually get the information that applies to it, right? So that's a great tip. Well, thank you so much, Adam, for being on our episode. It was such a pleasure. I'm sure our listeners have gotten a lot of valuable information, and hopefully for the ones that are out there that are probably in the market applying for a new loan, this would be a good point to maybe share your information if they're interested in contacting Bank of America, and more specifically you, Adam. How should they get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'd say the best way is to send me an email, adam.schenck, SCHENCK @BofA.com. I'm happy to be a resource, answer any questions. Feel free to send me an email. Happy to connect.
Right, and I'm sure there's some special rates that's going on, and of course, I'm not at liberty to share them. But if you guys are curious and interested, shoot him an email, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to talk those numbers with you.
Specific quote or get you an exact number. More than happy to work with any client.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much again, Adam.
Thank you, Ash. Appreciate you having me.
All right, of course. Thanks. Thanks for listening today. Be sure to subscribe to Beyond Bitewings on your favorite podcast platform. For more information, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, or reach out to us on our website. You can also shoot us an email at info@eandassociates.com.